Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. Sorry for the little mess on the couch over there. I am at work today. Both of the littles that I watched today, it's a Wednesday, are having a nap, and I thought it would be fun to film a video. I receive in my email BookBub, which is a collection of articles that are bookish related, and I've done this one other time, and I saved these last two emails that I received from them because they talk about uplifting books for spring. Now spring is nearly over. We're right in the thick of it. It's actually feeling a lot more like summer around here in Virginia, but I thought it would be fun to go through these uplifting books because this is the mood that I'm in a lot of the time these days, is to find some uplifting books. So I'm gonna go ahead and record my screen, and we're gonna take a look at these uplifting books together, see if they are ones that I've heard about before, or if they are new to me, if I'm gonna add any to my Goodreads TBR or not, and maybe we'll find some good ones together that we wanna read. So the first article is called 16 Uplifting Books Out This Spring. So I'm assuming these are new releases and not just backlist. Let's take a look and see what's in there. So here we go. Uplifting books. The first one is called The Bird Has Flown. I've never heard of this. The Bangles co-founder Susanna Hoffs. A sweet and tender romance and a Valentine to music. 10 years past her peak of fame as a rock star. I don't normally like movie star, rock star, celebrity type books. But if that's a romance that you like, a second chance at stardom and at love, so a second chance romance, I don't think I'm going to add that one to my TBR. This next one is When Jasmine Blooms. That's such a springy cover. I love it. A retelling of Little Women filled with heartbreak and hope. Celine's beloved daughter Libby passed away 2 years ago, and the grief hasn't subsided. She wakes in an alternate reality without the husband and children she'd known. She must learn to process the trauma she faced and find a way to live the life she really wants to live. Interesting, a Little Women retelling, but it also sounds like, what's that Christmas movie that I don't love but everyone else loves? Oh my word, what's it called? Where every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. What's that movie? I cannot think of the name of it right now. I'm so bad at off the cuff. You know, where the angel Charlie comes and shows him what his life would be like without his family. It sounds like that kind of a storyline as well. I'm actually interested in that. I'm going to add When Jasmine Blooms to my TBR. Romantic comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld was a book of the month option. And I think it's like Saturday Night Live romance, a comedy writer on the late night show, The Night Owls. So that just sounds kind of funny to me. I don't know how steamy it is. I haven't heard any reviews about it yet, but I'll keep an eye on that one. Again, it's kind of a celebrity or entertainment focused romance. We'll see. I'm going to wait on that one to hear a few more reviews from people that I know. The Mostly True Story of Tanner and Louise by Colleen Oakley. It looks like a fun cover. Louise Wilt is outraged when her daughter insists that she needs a full-time caretaker, but having aimless 21-year-old Tanner take the job is even more ludicrous. Neither is fond of the other until they end up on a late-night adventure together that will change both their lives. Okay, I do like intergenerational friendship relationships, not like romantic relationships, but this sounds like it's an elderly woman and a 21-year-old, and they're going to have some kind of friendship. That sounds like fun. I'm curious about that one. I've not heard anyone talk about it. Once Upon a Tome by Oliver Darkshire. Ooh, that's an interesting cover. Oliver is kept busy at his job at the Henry Southern Limited Bookstore, set at a bookstore, tick, selling and preserving first editions of rare books. It has seen centuries of history, and the books and people who enter leave marks on the building and its workers. Readers say this colorful, captivating book is a tribute to reading as well as unique bookstores. I like the sound of that. I don't really know what's going to happen. Is it kind of a quieter novel? The Misadventures, does it say The Misadventures of a Rare Bookseller? I'm kind of intrigued by that. I think I'll add it to my TBR and keep an eye out for it just to hear what other people say. Then we have clearly a romance, The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. Hallie and Jack don't feel connected romantically on their disastrous first and only date, but they bond enough to help each other find true love. While sharing their misadventures in the dating world, they grow to lean on each other through any situation and even make a bet on who could find true love first. But then an upcoming wedding leaves them no chance to attend as dates, and they fall in love, right? Sounds like a fun, predictable story. So they go on a date. It doesn't really seem to work out, but they build a friendship and then kind of help each other find love. That sounds kind of fun. Again, I don't know Lynn Painter, so I don't know her style of romance. Is it open door, closed door? I don't know. Happy Place by Emily Henry. Here's the deal, guys. I'm not going to read this book. Emily Henry is like a borderline romance author for me. I have enjoyed some of her books and I haven't. Like, I really liked Book Lovers and I enjoyed Beach Read. I did not care for People We Meet on Vacation. And the setup of this sounds more along the lines of People We Meet on Vacation than the other two. So we have this couple, Harriet and Wynne, they're exes. They used to date. They're not anymore, but their group of friends all get together every summer for a vacation. They are going to pretend to still be dating for this vacation. But so my little dude that I watch, his mom read it and said it's pretty steamy, steamier than some of her other work, and that it was a frustrating reason for why they broke up in the first place. That's what my beef was with People We Meet on Vacation. And so I just feel like I'm not going to read Happy Place. I don't really have any interest in it. It's such a buzzy book right now. I'm not going to read it. The Retreat by Zara Rahim. Fans of Sonali Dev. I've read a few books by her and liked them. Christina Lauren. I think I'm breaking up with Christina Lauren because I'm reading The True Love Experiment right now and not loving it. But to save her marriage when she fears her husband is having an affair. Okay, again, not a love for affair stories. Nadia looks for help from her sister, Ziba, but before the last page is turned, Nadia finds the opportunity to repair not one, but two important relationships and discovers important things about herself along the way. I like that there's going to be a sister relationship to it, but I don't like that there's going to be a focus about an affair. So probably not going to read that one. Fifth Avenue Glamour Girl. Look at that fun cover. Get a glimpse into the early life of beauty maven Estee Lauder. In New York City, 1938, Gloria Downing is determined to create a new life for herself after a family scandal. She unites with an ambitious young woman named Estee. Their friendship will inspire both of them to reach for the kind of success that women in their generation only dared to dream about. It doesn't totally draw me in, that description. I like historical fiction. New York City in the 1930s, sure. Beginning of World War II. I'm kind of interested in that. I'm not a huge fashion person. So the fashion world doesn't really inspire me to want to read it. So I'll probably skip that one unless I hear really good things from other people. No Two Persons by Erica Bauermeister. This is on my anticipated reads list. This sounds so good. So this is about the whole idea of how people can read the same book and have totally different reactions to it. And this is a book within a book. So Alice, in the midst of her grief, writes a first novel that's shared, a work shared in this book within a book. The novel creates an impact on the various people who read it. So I think we're going to follow 9 different people who react differently to this book and how they react to it. It just sounds really interesting. I've heard really good things about it already. Definitely have that on my wish list, want to read list already. Then we have The Darlings by Hannah McKinnon. 92-year-old Tish Darling has always been protective of the Cape Cod beach house, which has been in the family for generations. Returning there for her granddaughter's wedding seems like a logical plan. Her daughter-in-law, Cora, is less than thrilled with Tish's presence, and a deeply buried secret might surface any moment and wreak havoc on multiple lives. Okay, honestly, I'm just not a huge fan of family dramas in general. There's nothing about this one that makes me want to read it, so I'll skip that one. Danielle Steele, The Wedding Planner. Already, I'm probably not. Faith Ferguson, one of New York's most successful wedding planners, unlucky in love, 2 broken engagements, no trip to the altar. She finds fulfillment in her close relationship with her twin sister. Oh, she gets to oversee some flashy events and a handsome brother of the groom involved in one of the weddings. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it could be a Hallmark movie. I'm just probably not going to read that one. Tom Hanks. Oh, I knew that this book was coming out. I haven't heard any reviews of it yet. The making of another major motion picture masterpiece. That is a tongue twister. That is like a mouthful of a title. The acclaimed Hollywood actor brings forth a touching novel revealing the ins and outs of producing a superhero movie. Oh yeah, no. I'm not a superhero movie kind of a person, but I like that it's like a behind the scenes view of it because it's also reflecting on the changes that have occurred for the American people since World War II. A soldier returning from the fighting, body and mind forever scarred by the brutality he saw, and 20 years later, his nephew creates a comic. Yeah. I just don't think that that's for me. The God of Good Looks by Brienne McIver. A scandal ostracized her in the Trinidadian social scene. I like that it's Trinidad. Bianca takes a job at a magazine run by Obadiah Cortland. Her new boss is known to be elitist and brusque, but his outward persona hides his own years of surviving life's hard knocks. Told through diary entries and first-person perspective. Interesting. I've not heard anything about that one. I'm curious what people will say about it. It doesn't immediately pull me in, but who knows? And then Summer Stage by Meg Mitchell Moore. From this cover, I'm like, probably not. Amy doesn't get out much, stays immersed in her job as a high school English teacher. In her spare time, she writes plays while her brother Timothy chases his dreams as an actor. Her daughter Sam is home for the summer, but prefers Uncle Tim and his more glamorous life. And then they're forced to work together on a summer play at the maybe community theater. I don't know. That sounds interesting. I do like theater. Could be fun. I'm curious what people will say about that one. Not very eager to throw it onto my want to read list at this point, but it's like a maybe. And then The Wishing Game. I heard about this from somewhere and did add this to my TBR. Look at that bookish cover. I love that. This is by Meg Schaefer. Back in his day, Jack was one of the world's most famous children's book authors until he quit writing and disappeared from public view. Lucy was one of his biggest fans growing up and now shares his books with the children she teaches. After years of silence, he suddenly announces the publication of a new book, and her world is turned upside down when she is chosen to compete to win a copy of the new release. So there's going to be a game involved. I love any kind of competition. I love that it's a children's book author kind of coming back onto the scene. Definitely, I'm pretty sure I already have that on my TBR. I didn't put it on my want to read list because I wasn't aware of it, but as soon as I heard about it, I'm like, ooh, that sounds very good. And I think that's it for this one. So I already have The Wishing Game. I already have No Two Persons, and I'm adding, am I going to add The Love Wager? It sounds fun, but I don't think I'm like super eager. I'm adding this one, Once Upon a Tome, and The Mostly True Story of Tanner and Louise, and When Jasmine Blooms. So I have 5, 2 that I already had, and 3 that I'm adding to my want to read list from this first 16 uplifting books out this spring. Let's switch over to the other article. Okay, this second article is called 12 Feel-Good Books About New Beginnings for Spring. So I like the idea of a new beginning, a second chance. Let's see what we've got in this article. This one came out May 11th, so just last week. So the first one here is Lucky Girl, already historical fiction. It's the 1990s, not historical fiction. So this one is set in the 90s, which is fun. I don't know how to say that. Soila is a young, headstrong Kenyan woman who resists her mother's overprotective rules. After an assault by a trusted family friend, she leaves her home and her mother's expectations to start a new life in New York City, only to discover it's not everything she dreamed it would be. Sounds like it could be good. I'm going to wait and see if I hear other people talk about that one. I'm not going to add that to my TBR. The Windfall by Diksha Basu. When the Jha family unexpectedly comes into a large sum of money, Mr. Jha moves his family to the wealthier part of New Delhi. So this one takes place in India. Unfortunately, being rich doesn't come with an instruction manual, and the family encounters all sorts of problems as they attempt to navigate their new life. Kevin Kwan says, I almost fell out of bed laughing. So there's a lot of humor in this one. Interesting. I like that it takes place in India, follows an Indian family who gets a lot of money and has to navigate their new life. I don't know. Again, I'll probably wait to hear what other people think. Mame, was this the book of the month? I've seen some people read this. Maddie is a young woman caught between the desire to live her own life in London and her responsibilities to her Ghanaian family. Her mother spends much of her time living in Ghana, leaving her as the primary caregiver for her father, who has advanced Parkinson's disease. She wants more for her future. Ooh, that sounds interesting. I like that it's a Ghanaian family and that she has to be the caregiver for her dad. That should be interesting. That could be hard-hitting. I'm curious if people have read that one, what they thought of it. It's a beautiful cover. I love that cover. Then we have Small World by Laura Zigman. I'm not familiar with any of these. This is fun. A brave and heartfelt book of truths. A year after Joyce is divorced, she invites Lydia, who's also divorced and planning to move back to the East Coast, to stay with her temporarily in her Cambridge apartment. But living together doesn't strengthen their relationship the way Joyce had hoped. Family secrets, sisters have to forge a new path forward. This one doesn't really call out to me at all. So I'll probably pass on that one. Really good, actually. I've seen this cover, The RedHeaded Messy Bun. Really good, actually, by Monica Heisey. Maggie broke and divorced, and her graduate thesis is a mess, but she's made up her mind she's going to turn her life around. She takes up some new hobbies, embraces her single life, and starts dating again. I don't know. Nothing about that is yes, that sounds like a Krista book. Curious if you guys have read it and liked it or not. I'm not sure. One Italian Summer, Rebecca Searle. I have not liked a couple of her books. In 5 years, didn't really hit the spot for me. So I'm probably not going to read this one, but I like that it's Italy, and I've not heard great reviews about this as well. After the death of her mother, Katie decides to set off on the Italian vacation the two of them had been planning. But once she arrives in Positano on the Amalfi Coast, she discovers something unbelievable. A 30-year-old version of Carol, her mother. So is it like a touch of magic, explores the depths of grief. I do like books that explore grief. I'm not sure. Let me know if you've read that one, if you think it's something that I would like. I mean, I would not be opposed to traveling to the Amalfi Coast in the summer. I like that it's kind of a traveling book. Community Board by Tara Conklin. She wrote The Last Romantics, which I did not read. A heartwarming, hilarious tale about Darcy Clipper, a woman whose life has taken a very wrong turn. She returns to Massachusetts and finds unexpected comfort in the most unlikely of places. A heartening look at a community whose people realize they're better together than alone. Okay, I do like the community aspect of this. That's something that I really loved about All the Lonely People. I like that it takes place in Massachusetts. I lived in a small town in Massachusetts for a while. I don't know. I've not heard anything else about that one. I don't think I'm going to add it to my want to read list. Small Joys. I like that cover. It's kind of simple. In 2005, things are falling apart for Harley, and he thinks the only answer is to end his life. But his plan is interrupted by his new roommate, Muddy. From this shocking beginning, Harley and Muddy's unexpected friendship blossoms, giving Harley a new outlook on life and love. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to read that one either. I do like the cover, though. This list has not been as productive, I guess, or right up my alley as the other one was. You Could Make This Place Beautiful by Maggie Smith. In this powerful, poignant memoir, poet Maggie Smith reflects on the end of her marriage and her renewed commitment to herself at midlife. No, not going to read that. That was easy. That was an easy no. The Seaside Library by Brenda Novak. I like that it's a library. I like that it's at the sea, beachy theme. 20 years ago, Ivy, Ariana, and Cam were inseparable friends growing up on Mariner's Island. Then Cam was named the prime suspect in a missing persons case, and Ivy and Ariana vowed to protect him no matter what. The tragedy drove Ariana away, but now she's back on the island to face her past and her feelings for Cam. Okay, I'm curious about that one. Not enough to like put it on my want to read list, but I'm curious to see more reviews from people. It sounds like a fun summary read. And then Ellen Hildenbrand. I always have a trouble saying her last name, Hildebrand. I'm probably not going to read this one. The 5-Star Weekend. After the death of her husband, food blogger Hollis Shaw sets out to distract herself from grief by inviting her best friends from each stage of her life on a getaway to Nantucket. Her 5-Star Weekend doesn't go as planned, though, with conflicts between her friends and the arrival of her first love. Yeah, she's just not an author for me in general. Susan Wiggs, Welcome to Beach Town. Look at that, very beachy. All of these are very summery kind of reads. Nikki Graziola was a surfer's daughter on scholarship at the elite Thornton Academy when she revealed a shocking secret that rocked her California beach town. The notoriety and ensuing drama drove her out of town and away from everything she knew. Now, a tragedy has brought her back to Alara Cove, and she must reconcile her past to build her future. Full of surf, rediscovered love, and second chances. Comes out on June 20th. That one does sound kind of good. I guess of all the ones on this list, Welcome to Beach Town, Seaside Library, both of those two. Community Board is a possibility. One Italian Summer, I'm curious what you guys think, if that's for me. Oh, and Mame. Am I saying that right? I'm curious about that. Hopefully out of these two lists, you found a book or two that sounds appealing to you, that you added to your own TBR. I would love to hear in the comments below if you've read any of these, if they are feel-good or uplifting books, as the titles suggest of these articles. I know some of you enjoyed the last time I did this, so hopefully you enjoyed this little look at these articles as well, kind of reacting to these lists. And I know I added a few to my TBR, and hopefully you did as well. I look forward to chatting with you down in the comments. Thank you so much for being here and supporting my channel and watching, commenting, liking, all that good stuff. And I will talk to you in another video very soon. Bye.